Ici, là, tu dois payer 6 000, 10 000. Pourquoi? Parce que la route n'est pas bonne. On te taxe les prix. Et quand on vient pour les taxes, on demande qu'on doit donner les taxes. Et c'est pas normal. Nous devons être satisfaits comme eux-mêmes.
Commercial bike riders as well as taxi drivers say they are finding it difficult to carry out their businesses daily since they have to see the mechanic almost every day for repairs. Riding or driving through this road has now become a difficult task.
And it is very difficult in Cameroon to know who is responsible for the deplorable state of roads. The rural council mayors will say, go and ask the city council. The city council will say, go and ask urban development people. Urban development people will say, go and ask public works. Public works will say, go and ask Paul Biya. So finally, who is in charge of the deplorable state of roads in Cameroon? Thanks very much for those reports. Rex Afon, Vision Cat Television Office in Douala. Now we are going to talk about the state of coffee in Cameroon. The state of coffee. The production is slumping. That it is going down, 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 and down, or nose diving. Cameroon used to be number 2 in the 90s. In the 90s, Cameroon used to be number 2 producer in Africa, number 12 in the world. But today, Cameroon is number 30-something in the world as far as coffee production is concerned. What is actually the problem? Prince Mundi Tanda attempts an answer in the upcoming report.
The coffee sector in Cameroon has witnessed a drastic fall from 156,000 tons in the 1990s to barely 25,000 tons today, meaning from the 12th position in the world and second in Africa to the 31st position globally today. Coffee contributed greatly in increasing the country's GDP. In a bid to revamp the coffee sector, the government of Cameroon promised to inject 1.3 billion francs CFA this year, but as of now, not much is being realized. The challenges plaguing the coffee sector, which used to be very lucrative in the 1990s, began with the global economic crisis, which pushed the government to freeze subvention to coffee farmers, liberalizing the sector, which in turn fueled the downfall of cooperatives. Many farmers found themselves not being able to buy fertilizers and pesticides for their farms due to lack of road maintenance by government. Majority of the farmers abandoned their coffees in the farms since they couldn't transport it to the market. Experts say the situation was further compounded when it was alleged that coffee was sidelined in the allocation of government technical support and grants. However, the poor production of coffee in Cameroon cannot be attributed to government's failure alone. Soil are also sufficiently old, and big farmers in the years gone by, all aging out or dead, and their children are leasing out the farms to banana producers and others while moving to the cities. Experts in the domain further say if the government of Cameroon must succeed in her project to revive the coffee sector, it must learn from other countries such as Brazil and others.
Meanwhile, many coffee factories have been closed down, especially in the Mungo. Farmers are complaining, they are really grumbling, and they are demanding government assistance to revamp the coffee sector in Cameroon. We are going to end this segment of the newscast with Marilyn Gua reporting from the Tiko Wharf in Tiko, where people in Tiko are demanding that activities should come back in the Tiko Wharf and the Tiko Beach. She was there and compiled this report from Tiko. Marilyn Gua Gabila.
The wharf of Tiko is situated along the Bimbia River at the Gulf of Guinea, 19 kilometers east of Limbe. Tiko, being the gateway into the southwest region of Cameroon before now, used to boom economically thanks to the Tiko wharf, through which goods were imported from other nearby African countries like Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, amongst others. According to inhabitants of Tiko, the Tiko wharf, despite high-level competition from the port of Douala and the wharfs of Limbe and Edinau, now under the Limbe Deep Seaport, still gained steam as people traveled, imported and exported goods through the Tiko wharf.
The Tiko wharf yesterday gave a lot of employment to the population of Tiko, particularly the boys, and goods will pass through that place to enter Tiko, and sometimes even people will leave from Douala to come here to buy from Tiko because of that wharf, where things will come directly from Nigeria and Malabo and enter Tiko.
There was influx of transport canoes, flying boats, stick boats Tico custom wharf here was very, very booming. Both the low class and the high class, they were able to have their sustenance inside there.
Years later, the Tico wharf seems to be abandoned as little or no fief can be gotten from the wharf, as explained by inhabitants of Tico.
The Tico wharf is somehow dilapidating because of the road. There is no good motorable road.
But today is a little bit different because lately, I don't know if that wharf was really kept in good condition for ships to really land there. We've had many incidents. The ship there is not a ships there now, even though there are bigger ships there, but they are not as much as it was before.
With the town's principal industries being a rubber factory, iron foundry, light railway engineering, and with a population of over 60,000 and business being their main activity, it is but right to say the revival of the Tico wharf in no distant time should be the focus of the Cameroon government. However, the Tico population are hopeful that the coming of the Limbe Deep Sea Port will revive activities once again at the Tico wharf.
And that report by Merlingua brings us to a close to this segment of the 7 p.m. newscast. We're now going to receive our guest, Dr. Nkaka Christopher, Dean of Studies, HND and Professional Bachelors in ISAM. That's the Yaoundé School of Arts, Science and Craft. But before we meet Dr. Nkaka Christopher, we'll take this advert from ISAM.
I choose ISAM because everything here is facilitated and assured.
Now we have an ISAM, the level 3 in land survey.
Here we have all availability that needs for students to study. ISAM is a company in a company.
The Higher Institute of Science, Arts and Craft, ISAM, is organizing a competitive entrance examination for the BTS and HND come August 26, 2023. In the following fields of study: civil engineering, computer engineering, electrical engineering, trade and sales management, networks and telecommunications, management, healthcare, arts and crafts of culture, information and communication, tourism and leisure, biomedical sciences and techniques, legal careers. Admissions into the capacity cycle, bachelor, licence and master cycles are done strictly on file study. Note, the competitive examination begins 7:30 a.m. at the Minkan campus. For more information, contact us on our website www.isam.cm. Call 242-718-759. 672-556-969, 699-747-821. ISAM, the choice of a successful socio-professional insertion.
And it is our pleasure to welcome into the studio Dr. Nkaka Christopher. He is Dean of Studies, HND and Professional Bachelors on the campus of ISAM, the Yaoundé School of Arts, Science and Craft. Good evening, Doctor. It's a privilege for us to have you here in the studio.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure too.
How are you preparing for back to school on the campus of ISAM for the next school year?
Okay, we're doing our best. My mission here is to inform the prospective students and their parents that we are registering already. Some of them have come over for inquiries, but we still have to see them. I want to invite them to bring in their files so that we assess those files and see their efficiency and their capabilities of fitting into certain departments that we have. In fact, there is going to be a competitive exam, as you just heard over there, on Saturday, which is the second. We have had the first, this is the second coming up, although we're still going to have some, probably in September and immediately after. It is important that they come as quickly as possible to register.
Doctor, can you throw more light on the HND program on the campus of ISAM?
Yes, HND program, I cannot generalize it as to say what we find in ISAM obtains everywhere. No, we have a very different agenda for bringing up that program. Mm-hmm. If you look at the infrastructure we have at our disposal, you will know that the founder of ISAM at least placed a lot of emphasis on technical training for Cameroonians, including foreigners that can come in. I have visited a good number of private universities. I want to tell you very honestly here that hardly have I seen such infrastructure in Cameroon. I just wish that students know where to obtain such opportunities. I think one of the problems students have is to identify which is the best institution that can help them.
I was about to ask you that several universities in Cameroon, they talk about the HND. What is the difference between ISAM and them?
That's a very good question. ISAM is that we don't just train students and leave them because they have certificates. We follow them up. You will have heard recently that a good number of our students left for China. We have partners, and then they go for further studies outside there and come back to finish with us. If they want to stay there, if they want to take scholarship, they do. We follow them up, even right from internship. We make sure that many of them are placed, especially in the biomedicals. We acquaint ourselves with partners in the industry and make sure that they are fitted for practical exercises. So we follow them to see that they have jobs. We follow them to see that they go on further studies. We follow them to see that they are on internship. And at the same time, not only students, we follow lecturers as well to see that lecturers employed to teach do the right job and at the right time.
When one listens to you, one has the impression that ISAM is a place to be. Is registration already going on the campus?
Yes, registration is going on. We have the competitive exams on Saturday, and many of such examinations will continue. But I'm urging the students and their parents to, send in their files so that we study those files as quickly as possible. Some students stay behind now and think they will be coming in December, they will be coming in November. It will be late. ISAM has limited places because I think we rely on the infrastructure being able to accommodate the students that we admit. It's not every student we're even going to admit. If you see the competitive examination, it is for science and technology. Those of the social sciences, we study their files and we admit them directly if they are capable.
It is not all a bed of roses. You have some teaching. Do you have some teaching challenges on the campus of ISAM?
You are very correct. You are very correct. You see, the issue of monitoring teachers is one of the issues I have told you. You have to look at documents to see that the teachings or even the programs you have established are well taught. Sometimes you could have very good programs, but when they are not well taught, the students still have not had. So it is a problem. I think we have a task of following up not only lecturers and making sure that if the Ministry of Higher Education has created a program to take up to 30 credit values, we see that those credit values are exhausted by lecturers. Sometimes we have interruptions, public holidays and what have you. Those are challenges we face. But we make sure that students who are supposed to know it.
ISAM is situated on in Minkan, the Minkan neighborhood in Yaoundé, I guess.
Yes. As you arrive,
it should be somebody watching you on TV.
Yeah.
You can go ahead.
I think they want to get something from me. Yes. As you arrive, Bonidis.
Yes.
That is, that's the Bonidis itself, the roundabout. You see motorcycles parked over there. At your right hand, you can simply negotiate to enter the campus of ISAMS. It's not far away from there. It's just about 150 meters to 200 meters. You are already there.
Yes,
so I think it's not a problem. Mm-hmm. We have the school bus.
Yes.
So it transports students free of charge. Those who pass through Post Central take those buses. Those who come up to the junction where I'm describing now, they find the buses packed and they freely go in.
ISAM is indeed the place to be.
I believe so. I believe so. I would invite parents especially to know that knowing the best institution is good for their own children. I think it's not a pride to find structures, but after the structures, we want to see what the structures have in them. But I think ISAM has, and does well. For example, I will tell you about the programs. Like you're on the program now, you must have done a lot of practical work. practical work by interpretation of programs, we allocate more time to practice than the theories. This is why most of the students who finish HND are timid. They are afraid to go and practice because they are not sure of what they have done. But if they are sure of what they have done, especially with hands on deck, they will be able to stand on their own. One of the reasons why this HND program was introduced is to be able to boost the entrepreneurial sector in Cameroon, to allow government breathe in terms of employment. It's not government to employ every day. You have to stand on your own. If students today with HND and BTS are going to knock at doors for employment, it means something is wrong somewhere. That is why we have the infrastructure and want to use this infrastructure on these children, making sure that by the time they go out, they have their hands on deck, they can practically produce, they can stand on their own, and they can even make people to admire what they are doing. This is what ISAM is trying to do now. In fact, it's a shift from theories to practice.
Dr. Nkaka Christopher, Dean of Studies, HND and Professional Bachelors on the campus of ISAM, the Yaoundé School of Arts, Science and Craft. Thanks very much for coming and talking to us about the ISAM campus for the next academic year.
Thank you very much.
Still to come on the 7 p.m. newscast on Vision-Card Television, the Russian ambassador to Yaoundé was at the Ministry of Agriculture today, and then the Ministry of Finance is trying to regulate the cryptocurrency in Cameroon. These stories will be yours and we'll come back after this short break. The Russian ambassador to Yaoundé, Ambassador Baskin, was at the Ministry of Agriculture today. What did he discuss with Minister Gabriel Mbairobe? Our reporter Solomon Su says their discussion focused on Russian supplying fertilizers to boost agri production in Cameroon.
The audience granted to His Excellency Anthony Bashkin, Russian President to Cameroon, at the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development by Minister Gabriel Mbairobe was in a bid to strengthen ties between Moscow and Yaoundé. Exchanges between both men centered on agriculture, and Russia wishes to help Cameroon boost its agricultural production, and this passes through the supply of more fertilizer.
Je pense qu'on va augmenter les quantités et même voir la possibilité de la création de l'unité de production d'engrais.
Russia is one of the leading countries in the world when it comes to the production of crops like potatoes, wheat and cereals such as maize, barley and rye. As such, the country has also opted to share its expertise in the production of these crops with Cameroon in order to particularly help increase their production rates. To this effect, propositions to develop this project were during the audience made by Minister Gabriel Mbairobe and His Excellency Anthony Bashkin. Note that the project had previously been discussed by President Paul Biya and Vladimir Putin in St. Petersburg during the Russian-African Summit.
Cameroon's Ministry of Finance wants to regulate the cryptocurrency in Cameroon. It is the essence of a meeting that took place in Yaoundé today, and it was chaired by the Secretary General at the Ministry of Finance. With more on this, Chua Emmanuel.
The digitalization of the world economy has given birth to several virtual means of payment, otherwise called cryptocurrency, which allows a community of users to accept payments and effect transactions without the use of official or classical money. The dwindling nature of cryptocurrency and its legal implications caused the government of Cameroon to engage a development of cryptocurrency and activities based on the Ponzi system in Cameroon.
All these gave us the opportunity to dwell into cryptocurrencies, what are there, what are the opportunities of those cryptocurrencies, and what are the dangers. We know that it's real because people are using the cryptocurrencies to trade. For many things.
According to experts and financial officials in Cameroon, the country has over 9 million users of crypto money, representing 6.76% of the active population, with the principal risk being money laundering and the financing of terrorism, as over 160 billion francs of illicit financial flows linked to crypto money was used by terrorists in 2018. Necessitating some control mechanisms.
What we wanted to show is that there are dangers in using cryptocurrencies, many dangers, especially when we relate cryptocurrency to the Ponzi system. Ponzi system is that system that will offer to the customer the possibility to give them the revenue from their savings. Those revenue may be higher than the revenue from the market. And the system is quite simple. They will use the revenue from the previous savers to finance the revenue of the later. The danger is that at the end of the day, the thing was just collapse and people will lose all their revenue and all their income. And here we would like to sensitize all the citizens, everybody. If you have a deposit of like 1 million and the proposal is you have an income 1 or 2 million after 1 or 2 weeks, this is just incredible and it's not reasonable. You'll be very aware of the fact that that could be risky to you.
After the exposés on blockchain development, results of the study on development of crypto money, macroeconomic implications of crypto money in Cameroon, it was recommended that institutional control measures be put in place, education of students and citizens on the dangers of crookery, lack of guarantee and other lapses on the use of crypto money, and make known the advantages involved in the virtual financial phenomenon that has come to stay not only in Cameroon but also in other parts of the world, as COBAC, BEAC, COSMAF are expected to carry out reflections on the name of the crypto money appropriate for use in Cameroon.
Benjamin Boutou, he is a senior divisional officer for the Vuri. He has given illegal occupants of government land in Douala 30 days to quit or face demolition. Rex Afon reports from Douala.
Those who are comfortably sitting on state lands in the Vuri division have been reminded that the state can only give lands at its discretion and that nobody has the right to occupy them without due authorization.
The state have his property, his lands, and he can dispose when he wants. And it is not better that the people can install in the lands of state without authorization or permissions.
The senior divisional officer for Vuri, Benjamin Boutou, has reminded the occupants that those who are illegally carrying out activities on the land are breaking the law and there will be consequences.
If you go against the law, we have to retrieve this land because the state cannot like that. We can occupy the land without authorization. And if you occupy it without permission, we have to reclaim these lands in the lands of the state. And the people who occupy this land have to go away.